What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Oxygen movie review, recap, breakdown, and ending explained. There will be spoilers, so do be warned. Now, this was a movie that looked very, very curious based on the poster, and I know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but hey, why are there book covers in the first place? I'm a huge fan of almost claustrophobic space movies such as Stowaway, Midnight Sky, and Gravity, some of the most recent ones that have come out. This is very much a slow burn movie that changes its reveals almost every 10 to 15 minutes, and while a movie set inside a single box can be difficult to grip you, heck, even movies that are sprawling epics can bore me at times. I was hooked on this, trying to find out the twist and desperate to know what this was all about. These are my favourite types of movies, and I'm pleased to say that Oxygen did not disappoint me. The lead was superb at portraying the desperation of waking up in a box, confused with memories coming back, and being gaslit by people that she thinks are trying to save her. While this movie is set in just one pod, and with the exception of a few space scenes, it still looked great in 4K Ultra HD with HDR, something other movies do struggle with on the Netflix platform. Just like the Oxygen, the movie's plot is drip-fed throughout the movie, making the pacing enjoyable with the constant sword of Damocles threat of low oxygen. Essentially, we have Elizabeth Hansen, the movie's main character, wake up in a weird medical-style pod. Only the AI Milo is there to keep her company and regularly offer a sedative. Sometimes you just want a sedative. She has only about 35% oxygen left to keep her alive in her pod, with no clue where she is or why she's in the pod in the first place. The design is reminiscent of Space Odyssey or even the criminally underrated Moon. It looks futuristic, but it's not something that's completely out of reach. It's not like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek where everything is just a sheen screen. It's here that the story does start to slowly unravel. Now, personally, I expected a simple story of a woman stuck in a coughing style thing, similar to that movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds. Man, if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. That was that weird time when Ryan Reynolds was just absolutely beginning his ascent to stratospheric stardom, and before the times he bought Wrexham. But oh boy, does this movie get weirder and weirder. It's an unsettling movie, not only due to the tight location and the angles, but the jarring memories we see. We are absolutely flooded with flashes of hospitals, her mother, her husband, as well as rats through a maze, and she's unable to open the door to leave, but requires codes. Still thinking that she is in some sort of hospital base or wherever she is, her visions seem to actually come through thick and fast as she gets shocked. She gets through to support who are adamant to help. However, we later learn this is not support, but the authorities in charge of her space mission. She was sent on a mission 12 years ago to colonize a planet, but she initially rejects this idea despite speaking to someone who knew her husband, who reveals this all again to her and explains that humanity will be dead in just a couple of generations and a virus has ravaged the planet. How apt. The fake support she called was simply stalling for time so her oxygen would run out, as if she got through to someone else or the wrong person, this mission is actually top secret, so it has to be kept from everyone else as they're simply actually colonizing another planet instead of fixing what's going on Earth. Yeah. That's very much like real life. She's told by this woman to... Now, she goes off and, well, doesn't go anywhere, but she talks to a woman who seemingly knows her husband. She's told by this woman to adjust her memories and look to what triggers them so she can remember. Luckily, the constant tampering with the device is illegal and actually shocks her, which triggers her memories, and she remembers trying to save her husband Leo from dying, and that there was indeed a virus that ravaged the planet. It seemed like Leo at some point had caught this, and it was ravaging himself. It's up until now that I did not trust a single thing anyone was saying, but eventually the woman actually gets her codes that needed to be open the door, and well, after this, the woman actually gets seemingly arrested, is what we hear. And if you want to watch this again, I highly recommend watching it with subtitles, because there's a lot of nuance which gets lost, or maybe it's just my hearing difficulties that I have. And we learn why she can't actually be let out. We see a stunning vista of the ship damaged in space with a shocking jump scare of a dead body right in front of her. The real twist of the movie slowly unravels when this happens, and we get to see that Leo is actually on board this ship for his preservation, but he does not have the scars she remembers from her memories. Now, throughout the movie, she has been looking herself up, but we then see memory transference mentioned by an older woman at what looks like a TED Talk, and it turns out that it is indeed her. She has somehow given a speech while being old, but how? Well, this all explains the rats that were shown throughout the movie. In her memories, we see these constantly, and it turns out that she's actually cloned herself. She has perfected a method of not only cloning a person, but has also perfected the method of transferring memories from one person to another. The rats in the maze remember everything despite never being in the maze before, and Elizabeth is only 12 years old, which means that her older version has actually just chucked her on this mission. Not content with bleeding twists, but we learn that the woman who told her all this, who helped her and then got arrested, well, that was herself. Yes, that is a mind flip. I'm not going to swear, don't want to get demonetized. It turns out that she assigned a clone of her and Leo to this space mission to live on. To survive, she is able to go into hypersleep and use the oxygen from the dead people's pods to survive the reanimation process. We then see her on a planet with Leo, who himself had been designing the delivery system for the rocket itself, which is why we saw the flying seeds throughout, and they're free to live their life. Now, I would actually really like a sequel from this, but while it's hard to believe a word this movie says, I do believe that Elizabeth saw this as her last chance. She survived the virus while her husband didn't, and got about cloning herself and possibly even other humans to survive on another planet. Now, this was a really enjoyable movie. It was a bit kind of hectic and kind of really unsettling, but I just needed to know what happened next throughout. Now, I really do recommend checking this out if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, you've ruined the whole movie for yourself. This is an ending explained. But I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. What did you think of the movie? What did you think of the twist? And do you have a different take on what happened in the movie? I'd love to hear it all. So please do drop a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and do subscribe with notifications on so you never miss anything from us. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.